Welcome back to Factory Friday. This week, we're following up on last episode's discussion about relief cuts, showing you how to cover them for a clean finish. We'll also dive into the type of glue we use in our lamination process and explain the role of panel inserts. You'll get a closer look at our CNC machining capabilities, plus we have a product alert featuring the Flushlock for barn doors or toy haulers. We'll catch up on the latest flat packs going through production, and John is here to answer some frequently asked questions with some hands-on demonstrations. Let's get started.
G'day everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Factory Friday 2024. So good to have you back with us. Remember, if you watched last week's episode, we spoke about the amount of relief cuts on our assembly over there, but I just thought have a look at these two builds we got going through. These roofs are, about 9-10 meters long, and they've got literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of relief cuts because it's a big radius build, kind of an old classic retro style. So they look very nice when they're done, but of course they take a lot of relief cuts to do it. So we have pre-cut the fiberglass sheets for the manufacturer to bond to cover all the relief cuts on the inside, because you don't want to see those, and because there's so many of them you have to cover. So we supply the Macroplast, the two-part polyurethane adhesive by Henkel. That's the same adhesive we use to bond the panels together, so we supply that in little pails, so you can use that at home. Let's go and check out next door how we do that. All right, so here's the glue dispensing machine that's made in Europe, and it's a air-operated machine that pumps the Macroplast adhesive through the lines and out the pistil by volume, this machine. But when we supply your Macroplast for covering your relief cuts, we'll actually measure it by weight. So we've got a set of scales that we set up here, and we decant the adhesive from this machine into the plastic tub. Now, depending on how much adhesive you buy will depend on what sort of bucket ratio you end up with. We've got them from as small as 2 litre and right up to 20 litre. So because this pumps it out to 4:1 ratio, you will end up with a 4:1 ratio through your buckets. Now, the bigger bucket will always be the filler, and the smaller one's always the hardener. Now, it's quite often asked with our panel inserts, as we put the panel inserts into the panel during the lamination period as we're applying the adhesive. So it's quite often asked, how do we not get the glue inside the panel insert? So if you want to come with me, I'll show you how that's done. Okay, so here we are. We've got a DIY set going through here. This is Rob's build. This is his roof panel. So what I've done here, I've just got board A and board B together. You can see board B just has the groove machined in it for the beam to go inside, and in board A I've placed the 45 by 25 pultrusion beam. Now, if you want to come in closely, you can see that the end is sealed up. So we actually have to tape these ends up, otherwise the amount of adhesive that's inside the panel during the lamination or the press process, it can quite easily fill one of these beams with adhesive. So that's a must, that we must tape up the ends. It's also another reason why we can't have intersecting conduits, so to speak, because adhesive will find their way in. You'll also remember from last week's episode, we spoke about the sliding door system that we have at StyroMAX now. There's a new feature video up on YouTube, so make sure you check that out. But we've actually got one going through. This is for Rob's build as well. So we've got his internal wall, and of course his door section down here, because the door has to be bigger than the cutout. So here it is, all machined out. These bits of 25mm pine will be dropped into the panel during the adhesive lamination process. A piece up the top, that's where that helmet will screw to and glue to, if you remember that part. And then of course this will be the door piece, and it's got a little piece of timber in there as well, so we can attach the sliding door handle nice and securely. Speaking of machining foam, come and check this one out. I've got 144 boards of 25mm, which is the standard styrofoam, to turn into 20mm for a large industry job that we're doing with some big B-double semi-trailers. So we're using the CNC router here at the moment to take off 5mm of board thickness. Then when it's finished that, we're just about to, we'll throw another tool in and the machine will then go across and re-groove the board. So we're so lucky we have this ability to do this type of thing here. Okay, so if your panels have panel inserts in them, be that be PVC or fiberglass protrusion or timber, perhaps a bit of pine here and there, your drawings will come upstairs here to our cutting bench. So this bench has a range of tools. It's got blades for cutting fiberglass, it's got blades for cutting timber, so we swap them out depending on what we're cutting. And then the guys will pick from the shelves here. Here's some of the protrusions, some of the timber. If you were at our last DIY show, this was the display that we had out for everyone to have a look at, with all our different protrusions and timbers in there. So that's what that is. But anyway, they can just grab all the bits and pieces. They're all part numbered and shelves are all numbered, so they know what to get. And then they'll come along over here, read off your drawings, and then cut the beams to length and tape up the ends and get it ready for production downstairs. All right, so enough of in here. Let's go next door and see what's happening in the back area. Here's something different that we do that you might not know that we do. This is a set of barn doors. Now we've also fabricated the 75 by 50 RHS frame. This setup's actually going into the side of a container, so I'm going to cut a sort of a square or rectangle into the side of the container, weld the frame to the container, paint the container, and then hang the doors. So these are what's known as a Flushlock type door assembly. So as opposed to what you might see on a typical semi-trailer with the cam lock gear on the outside, this setup's done on the inside. Now we do that via a styro beam, a 45 by 25 beam that's available, that we put inside panels with 25mm foam or 45mm foam. So that's bonded inside the panel, and that allows the 16mm stainless rod to go through the panel with the cams welded at the top up there. You can see them up there as I operate the handle, and of course they engage with the cam keepers which shut the door. So yeah, you'll see most truck bodies like this with barn doors. Some have triple, but you can also use this setup on a toy hauler. So if you can just picture this door rotated 90 degrees, and then this becomes your lift up door in your toy hauler, well, it operates the same way. Okay, now if you remember last week, I had that boat canopy panel on the lamination table. These are becoming increasingly popular. Here's a boat canopy roof. Right, so this is it all cut up now. So she's come off the CNC routers, and all the big 35 by 50 beams are now exposed. So this customer is also getting fiberglass sheet and macroplast. I believe he's glassing up around the edges with the macroplast, I believe. So yeah, that's quite a nice large boat canopy roof to be fishing out from under, I suppose. So this is another industry job going out. This one's heading to Sydney, so it's a little outside broadcast box for television. Yeah. So all right, so yeah, we've just put our passage handle in there, so we just took a few photos to show the customer and see if they need any other works done. But yeah, so this is making its way south next week, so that's pretty cool. All right, so Q&A time, guys. Thank you for all the questions that you submitted from last week's video that I put up asking for questions, so we got quite a few. Funny enough, we got more from Instagram than we do on Facebook, which I thought would be the other way around, but apparently not. Times are changing. So thank you anyway. It's time to address those. Let's get into it. Okay, right, so here's the question. Minimum distance from a corner join you can have an opening, door, window, hatch, etc. What is the maximum unsupported overhang possible? All right, now it's from Doc Dave on Instagram. Doc, thanks for your question. Right, so let's address the first part, the minimum distance from a corner join. That one is, let's say a corner join here, is probably more determined by the trim you might be using. Let me see, if you can see this one here, I don't know, we've probably got about 70 odd mil. So there's plenty of room here for the trim overlap. When you've got your doorway trim and this body will have this trim, there's plenty of meat here, right? If you had 50 by 50 by angle, of course that decreases. Now the moment you decrease that, these trims run the risk of overlapping. You can determine that in your design stage, but that's the general major problem behind it. You can go right up nice and close, almost flush with the other wall, but again, it depends on the trim you're using and whether you've got a hatch door there. Generally you would. And it also it depends on the internal fit out as well. If you've got another wall up in here like this one does as a bed base, that puts a lot of strength back into the corner where your opening comes right up close to the end of the panel. So, you know, look, rule of thumb, I like 50 mil minimum, but you can go right up close, you know, depending on the design. And on top of that, if we are worried about strength, we can also put a protrusion beam up inside the panel at that area, which really gives it some massive strength. As far as, I think you asked about doors and windows, yeah. Well, yeah, again, probably 50 mil. It's a bit different up in a flat panel in the middle of nowhere, because you get some twisting happening, so you wouldn't want it, you know, too close, like 10 mil apart, even though you couldn't with a window anyway because you're blind on side, but that's another story. So look, I'd probably keep it a minimum of say 100 mil we like, but in general terms, in an RV build, this is what it's like, you know, there's probably 150 there either side, and that's more than ample. So the last part of your question was, what's the maximum unsupported overhang possible? Well, that's another multi-answered question as well. Depends on your build, what's inside that overhung area, and what type is it. On the back of a truck body where there's legal requirements, or you're just talking a rake angle of a caravan. So let's say you're talking a rake angle of a caravan. Look, we've successfully manufactured them over the years with at least 500, 600 mil overhang from the frame. Successfully, they haven't come apart. So if that is part of your question, that's what I would say. But again, a lot of that's more design orientated of what are you having inside that area at that position, stuff like that. So, but they're questions we can really get into and delve deeper into with some hand-drawn sketches that we get from you guys. All right, so next question, we've got Brett from Facebook. Thanks, Brett, for your question, mate. We've got, what's the cost of an average size caravan cutout? And what is used for the edging to keep it all together? Righto, so let's try and address the first one first, which is the average size caravan. Well, for us, there's no real average. They're all different. So all I'm really gonna say is, I'll give you an average cost of a DIY caravan panel set can be between $180 and $200 thereabouts a square metre, if it's average. Most of them are not. They change, they got different things in them. Some have lots of beams, that makes it not so much average anymore, so it just varies. But if you want to just bounce around a figure, you can say $180 to $200 a square metre, and that's as of 2024. So don't go looking at this video in 10 years time and think it's going to be that price, because I assure you it won't be, because 10 years ago I remember selling it for $140 a square metre, so prices have increased a lot over a decade. Okay, so part two to Brett's question is what is used for the edging to keep it all together? Right, so if we look at how we construct our panel sets, we use the rebate to receive method, which is where the side walls get rebated to accept the thickness of the end panels, and then the top of all those wall panels get rebated to accept the thickness of the roof panel. So there you go, you have your fully insulated, fully sealed box. Of course it's going to have some RV shape in it, but the main thing is it's an insulated box like so. Right, now what keeps it together, I see you ask, so I'll jump to my, well, first what keeps it together is the Terracin MS939 that you bond your panels to your subframe first, your wall panels, your side walls, your end walls, and then of course the roof, whether it be a one piece down to the front or just a drop in of its own. It's the adhesive of the Terracin 939, that's what holds it together to start with, right? So that stuff is super strong to start with. Now the edging is just dress trims really. Mostly just for aesthetics. You know, you've got your styro trim RVs in different colours, or you've got your RG 50 by 50 decorative trim. They're put on just, as I said, decorative trims, make it look pretty. Yeah, they'll provide a little bit of strength, but the guts of the strength of the body is in your wall panel, bonding to your subframe, and then the panels to one another. That's what creates the main structure, and then of course any fit out inside, which is cupboards glued or screwed to the floor, bonded to the wall or the roof, that's what creates the superstructure. Okay, now further to that question, you could be inquiring, or you probably are, about panel joiners. We don't use them, never have, never will, although I must lie, I do use a panel joiner, a styro bow, but that's only in a rear bow of a toy hauler or a refrigerated truck body, where the side walls will connect to these, but in that case they're also mechanically fastened as well, because these are not good for adhesive bonds. So probably the worst downfall is aluminium from outside to inside, so that's going to be a temperature bleed. They're shape restrictive, you can't roll that around a radius, but furthermore you do not get a super strong bond with a panel system that slides in to a joiner, because what it does is it pushes the adhesive away like a spatula. So I've got a bit of a demo here, I can show you what happens. We have your panel joiner, so to speak, then it's not quite like the ones that are available on the market. They're more sort of come up parallel with one another, or not parallel but level with one another. So to start with, it then becomes hard to get your adhesive into, edges get in the way, so it makes it difficult. So let's put some adhesive on the panel instead, eh? We'll try that method. So we'll just whack some on here, more than we need for this. Okay. And I think, oh well, let's do it on both sides, eh? You know. We'll just do some waves. All right. Okay, without getting this all over myself. And I'll then squeeze that into here. You can watch what happens. Right, so I mean your panel is going to come in straight in or on a slight angle, but it's going to be very difficult, and that's what's going to happen. Well, that's what happens, is that it pushes most of the adhesive out like a spatula, and then you're just left with a wafer thin adhesive bond. And we've seen this already with caravan panels where they're actually moving inside the trim. We can see it when they turn up here with customers that have purchased caravans and they're having dramas and they want us to, oh, what's going on? And yeah, that's what's going on. So apart from the temperature bleed that you will get, and then you'll have sweat happening inside the van everywhere, it's just not a strong bond. It's certainly not as strong as the method that we have. So as opposed to applying adhesive to your rebate, let's just use this as an example, you know, you've got that there, you can see it, you've got your panel, and it just goes bang. Nothing gets pushed away, right? And of course inside, right, will be insulated once you obviously add an insulated floor. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's why we do the rebate to receive method and always have done. A, you get 100% thermally broken body, and B, you get 100% strength in your bond. So thanks for your question. That was a really good one. All right, guys, well, thanks for watching today's episode, and guys, thanks for sending those questions in. I've enjoyed answering those. I hope it's made it clear enough for you guys. So look, if you want your questions answered, put them in the comments below, and I'll get to them on the next episode of Factory Friday. I'm just refilling one of our designer sample packs that I've used today to display a few things. So they're on our website. If you want to purchase one of these, it's fully refundable from your panel set cost if you go ahead with us. Yeah, so it's just got a piece of everything in there. And there's also one available now that's got a handy budgeting tool that Sam has created, so that's proven to be pretty popular. So you got the choice of just a standard sample pack or one that comes with the budgeting tool, so you can work out the costs of your entire build. So until next episode, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and hit the bell notification tab so you'll know next time we upload a new video. See you then.